Welcome to the Recruiting Scoop, the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook. That's Justin Wells. Thank you for watching. Got to like the video. Got to subscribe to the channel. You got to go to Inside Texas. Join for just $1. Use that first link in our description. Use that QR code there at the top of the screen. Sign up. Get you the best recruiting insight. We've had a lot of visitors added to the spring list over the past couple of days, this morning even, including a local prospect from Dripping Springs, as well as a top 40 prospect in the country out of Georgia. So come check it out at InsideTexas.com. We'll have all that covered. We've got team workouts covered. We got some insight on Will Muschamp and off-season workouts. We've even got some stuff on basketball and baseball. Busy week over on Inside Texas, so come check us out. $1, first link in our description, or that QR code at the top of the screen. And Justin, we're bringing this show back. Kind of took a little bit of a hiatus during the year because high school prep recruiting slows down. You still see visitors, but it's enough for us to just be able to talk about maybe once a week on our Tuesday show. But now stuff is popping up every day. Visitors are making plans. Spring ball is around the corner, and we know prospects love coming and checking out, seeing what it's like to actually be involved in a practice in the program. And that all leads up to June official visits and then July decisions.
Yeah, so the best thing for me about with spring invites, if you're invited to a spring practice or spring scrimmage, they're interested. Sometimes you get some of these token invitations to junior days, to summer camps, to things like that. They want to see you. They want to get to know you. But if you're invited to these spring scrimmages, we've kind of seen the pattern with Sark. That means they really like you. That means they really want to get to know you and continue to evaluate you. And so, we've had portal on the brain for it feels like 3 months now. And now that we can kind of scrub that and get back to the nitty gritty of the bloodline, which is the recruiting pipeline. And Texas is going to do really, really well in the class of 2027. It's going to be a little different, I think, this cycle than ones in the past. I think we're going to see Texas go big for some of those big fish, try to catch that trophy marlin. And I think they're going to also allocate it and be efficient with their funds and try to get some decent 4 stars at a good price and some 3 stars that can have some really high upside and development that they can get at a good price. I think we're starting to see the market kind of turn a little bit, and Sark and those guys are ahead of the curve, in my opinion.
One of the things that, again, all these visits are important, and something you wrote today, really important story, I think, as we're gathering all this intel on visitors, is 10 prospects that Texas has to get back on campus this spring. Some cases get them on campus for the first time for them to be really involved in the recruitment. And there are some players from the state of Texas or some players from outside the state of Texas. Nice, even list of 10. We'll go through them real quick, kind of rapid fire, and this will be fun to track. We'll also take some questions. So if you want to throw some in the comments, leave them there. We'll hit them at a certain point, and
there's also going to be a few guys that aren't on this list, and it's because they already have visits scheduled. Marcus Fakatu is a kid you got to get back on campus. Well, he's coming for an OV. Jimmy Callis just dropped his top schools list about 24 hours ago. He's going to be on campus. So if you didn't see him on the list, it's only because Texas has him scheduled to come in. And so these are guys that need to get scheduled. They need to see over the next 2 or 3 months to even consider these to be real recruitments when we go into June.
Let's start with number 10. That's with Kadrian Redmond, defensive lineman from DeSoto.
Did you add those into my story?
Yeah.
Good. You're so good, Joe. You're so good.
Oh, man. Kadrian Redmond from DeSoto. And the intrigue right now, it is with Redmond, but it was created by a change in coaching at Texas Tech with Zarnell Finch.
A little bit. I do. Yes, the Finch leaving Tech does have an effect here. But it has more of an effect, I believe, on Jalen Brewster than it did Kadrian Redmond. I don't think it matters who's the D-line coach at Texas Tech this year, next year, the year after next. I'm leaning into this one. I'm with Charlie Williams. I think this kid's going to go to Texas anyway. I think the Horns have actually continued to push hard and build out the relationship with Redmond, and they've basically kind of pushed Brewster almost to the side. And so I think the Fitch move that the D-line coach at Tech leaving, I think is substantial. But with Redmond, I'm not sure it matters a whole lot. I think this kid still has Texas on the brain. And if you have any more questions, let Charlie Williams know. That guy has this recruitment wrapped around his finger. And just know Kenny Baker loves this kid, and they want to bring him in.
We'll go to number 9. This is a real interesting one, and you can see some of the variance in rankings. Basically, Rivals is very slow to give out 5 stars. He's the number 19 prospect. That's going to be a 5-star down the road. They're just slow with that at this point. Number 1 on another outlet, number 1 overall prospect, kind of averages as number 10. And the way you worded it was, hey, if Colin Simmons is going out the door after this year, why not bring somebody in like David Jacobs? And Ohio State has that commitment right now from a Catholic school in Roswell, Georgia, a place where Texas has been to plenty, but someone that, hey, Texas and Ohio State, of course, and Georgia are going to have great sales pitches, but they need him to be in Austin to hear that pitch for this to be worth tracking.
And this is worth tracking because Alan Clark has already brought him on campus before. He attended the Texas A&M game back in November, absolutely loved it. Clark knew what he was doing. Clark knows he's got another 10 months with Colin Simmons, and then that guy is going to head to the NFL. You got to replace him. You got to find that guy, and you can't just replace Colin Simmons with the next edge. You got to go big because they went big with Colin, and they got to go big here. How hard is it going to be to flip DJ Jacobs from Ohio State? His NIL numbers tell me pretty damn hard, but that does not faze Texas. You think they care about price tags and things of that sort? Well, Alan Clark has a type. Jacobs fits that mold. They got to replace Colin Simmons next year. Why not go big?
Love that one. Moving on to number 8, Jake Hildebrand from Chandler, Arizona, Basha High School, basically consensus top 110 prospect. And you mentioned 2 names that I think a lot of Texas fans are very familiar with in talking about him. Ismail Kamara from Gilmer, Brian Swanson from South Oak Cliff. Those are the guys that seem to be Texas' priority, at least on the offensive line. There's another name that we'll add in up here as another priority on the offensive line. But Hildebrand, someone from out of state, 6'5", 285, who Texas is looking at trying to, again, I'm going to be saying a lot of the same things over and over. It's real if he shows up. There's interest. Kyle Flood's a fan, but someone that Texas, when looking to add more tackles, Hildebrand's on the list.
So I think people expected this spot to be Kennedy Brown. And this was our opportunity to kind of set the record straight with Texas fans that we don't know how much of a priority Kennedy Brown really is for the staff right now. They would take him. Don't get it twisted. But I don't think he's an offensive tackle. I talked to a source yesterday. He's not near as high on college football boards as he is on recruiting rankings boards. And so and if you have to convince Kennedy Brown that he's a guard, I don't think you're going to get him. Jake Hildebrand is the opposite. This is a versatile guy that can play offensive tackle, can play offensive guard. He could even play some center if he needed to. This is a kid that Texas really likes. Flood and those guys actually went back out to see him. I believe it was in late January. Again, Hildebrand is adamant he wants to see Texas. We'd like to see him get on campus. I think if he comes this spring, this recruitment really kind of amps up. It becomes real. We talked about the other lineman that was offered yesterday that was on the top 6. Who was it? Jimmy Callis. Callis may be the guy. Callis already has his visit. I think Hildebrand's kind of in that category too. Texas really likes him, but they want to see where they're at. They want to continue to evaluate. And so that's why I like Hildebrand, because I think he's a kid that he doesn't have to play tackle. He can, but he can play multiple positions. And honestly, with the way Flood has recruited the O-line the last 2 years, I think you need more of these versatile guys because it feels like they've either got one or the other in a lot of these positions where they need guys that they can kind of flow in and out and can be Swiss Army knives as a comparison.
Number 7.
I thought of you on this one.
I messed up the little embed, so let me get that fixed up. It's actually Eli Johnson. That is the Cibolo Steel defensive back. You look at him; he is a great presence on the field. Cibolo Steel, like you mentioned, known for producing a lot of great defensive backs. Texas has been the beneficiary of that with Caden Stearns. Jalen Jones went to A&M. Lots of different Steel defensive backs have gone around the country. Johnson visited a few times and I think camped last summer with Texas. But Ohio State with Matt Patricia and company made the push. got his commitment. I think not too. Let me see what the date on
It was December.
It was even earlier than that. It was
November.
November, and that was a point in time when Texas wasn't really hard on 2027 recruiting.
Or at all.
They were letting a lot of recruiting. I don't want to say slide, but it just wasn't the priority at the time. They were trying to get to the get to the playoff, get to the end of the season, go through the portal. Top prospect. This is someone who you would think, Justin, it'd be easy to get him because it's Cibolo to Austin, not that far, but he's got to have the interest. And of course, like I said, Texas had him on campus. He's got a good place, to be committed in Ohio State. He fits a lot of what Texas and Will Muschamp would do. I mean, 6'3", 186. There's a guy back there by the name of Jelani McDonald, and then a guy back there by the name of Jonah Williams, who kind of looks similar to this. They got to get him back, though. He's got to make that decision to make that drive for this one to really feel like it's back in the stages where it seemed like it was last summer.
Texas fans need to know this is one of these. Every year there's a few Joe Cook specials, and about a year ago, he probably doesn't even remember, but he told Charlie Williams and I about Eli Johnson. I can't even remember where it was or what was happening, and so we started, kind of following him, and it's like, oh my gosh, this kid is fantastic, top to bottom, elite from an elite program. The thing about Eli, you just got to remember, Caden. It reminds me this could have a Caden Stearns vibe to it, and I don't mean on the field stuff. I mean, when Caden Stearns committed to LSU, Texas wasn't even in the conversation. When Eli Johnson committed to Ohio State, Texas wasn't even in the conversation. Then Caden Stearns showed up out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. He was howling like a wolf on the 40 acres in the middle of a spring, out of nowhere. Flips 24 hours, 48 hours later, becomes a Longhorn. The rest is history. I'm not saying this is the analog to that. I'm just saying there's a pattern. And I think Texas wants to get at least one big-time safety in this cycle, whether it be Eli, whether it be Honor, Johnson, whether it be any of those other guys. I think Texas knows, okay, he's committed to Ohio State, but they're not going to let up. And we know how Texas plays the long game. If they can't get him back on campus, Joe, this spring, I think the recruitment's probably over. And that's why I think it's so important. They see him in the next 2 or 3 months.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, that is Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results: Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
Flip it back over to offense. And this is an interesting one because Charlie Williams, he kind of had his best class scenario. Best 11 on offense. And that's kind of what you need with the way class sizes are. And this is a player that he put into that top 11 as a slot wide receiver. Currently from a great program in Chaminade Madonna, produced Derek Cooper, produced that Jeremiah Smith guy, produces a lot of great players. This is someone who I think Miami probably feels like they have an inside track on. Yeah. But Chris Jackson put an offer on the table, and if they can double up, not only get the one spring visit, but get an official visit and be involved, this is someone that Texas would feel great about adding to their offense.
And this is also a kid that he's actually said he wants to visit this spring. And so, but I still wanted to add him because I want to get credit for him because he is Mr. Electricity. Like, I watched his tape again after Charlie had seen him, and it's like his start and stop is ridiculous. That dude's got like 4 gears, man. But you're right. Miami is, when Miami's good, South Florida is good. Those talented, those prospects, they like to stay close to home, play for the U. You're going to see a lot of that in 2027, Joe and fans. So you got to prepare for that. But I love how Texas just is like, we'll go get him. We'll go get him. We'll go to Hollywood and we'll find him. And plus, if you compared him with an Easton Royal in the class of 2027, I mean, that's your floor, ceiling, and in between. I mean, he's just that good. So he's actually expected to be on campus, and I think it's going to be vital to to fight off Miami and a few of those other schools. He is a great find. Texas is going to do well. I think they're going to take one or two in-state kids, probably Julian Caldwell and or Trey Moore. Stevens would be just an unbelievable addition.
Number 5, and this is a great player. I know if Williams David is watching, he's about to start jumping through the screen. That's Josh Dobson, goes to Huff High School, same high school as Samari Matthews, top 5 player in the country, 5-star basically by every service, top 15, top 5, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And, there are 2 elite corners on this list. And, man, I don't know if there's one better than Dobson.
There's one comparable. And we'll get to him.
Good way of putting it, yeah.
There's one comparable. You'd love to keep the in-state guys in-state, but I just got to tell you, like, Dobson's the total package. I mean, this guy, he's the type of kid that I think if you sign him, he's going to be in the rotation or at least get some reps as a true freshman. Some of these guys, once we go 5 down, a lot of these guys are probably going to play as true freshmen at the next level, and I think Dobson can do that. The greatest thing about Dobson is I think he's wide open. I don't think there's one school or another that has like some giant lead. I know Georgia's in it. Ohio State's in it. I think LSU's throwing some stuff his way. I'm sure North Carolina's going to drop a Jordan Hudson-sized bag. Like, it's going to be fun. But Dobson is a guy that really likes Mark Orfeh. And he's got Samari Smoke Matthews telling him all the good stuff that's happening in Austin right now. Like one of the other guys we just mentioned earlier, I like Stevens, I think Dobson will see Texas in this spring. I think he's very eager to get to Austin and see what Texas has to do. Then we're going to know where this recruitment's going to go after that. But this is a guy I could see Texas going all in on.
Number 4, I can take this one with Reed Ramsier. Actually just communicated with him a little bit the other day. He's not going to be on this list for long. He's going to be someone who is setting up he is someone setting up visits to Texas during the spring. Was able to get that from him. He was visited by Kyle Flood during the course of January, even made his way to a game, I believe, as well. Probably someone who fits on the interior. And like I mentioned,
he's an interior guy.
Good news is this one is going to materialize soon. Like we had mentioned when we first posted our list over on Inside Texas, a lot of these players, we may know the dates. They don't know the dates quite yet, but expect to see, as we were talking about, those Saturday visits in late March and early April before the April 18th spring game be when you see a lot of these guys come in. So they can turn it into a weekend, turn it into an event. If they're not able to make those, they'll stick around, come up during their spring break, see one of the weekday practices, maybe see an off day. But Ramsey is someone who's going to probably be taken off this, like, oh, they have to get him on. He's going to have a visit locked in pretty soon, and we've been keeping up with him. Speaking of cornerbacks, though, John Meredith, now of North Crowley.
I messed that up. I had to go back and edit myself. I'm still thinking he's Euless Trinity. I'm trying to fix my brain, man.
And you can see he's got these top ratings from all the major services. The Rivals industry ranking that has him as the number 1 overall prospect. And you know what? I'm not going to disagree with that. He's seen Texas plenty.
Yes.
He has seen Texas A&M more,
yep.
And he's seen Ohio State recently.
Yep.
Doesn't mean Texas is out of it, but they need to get him back on campus to continue to compete like they are in this recruitment.
Scroll down just a hair. I think I'm just going to say whatever I wrote here because I think it comes off best. I think Texas A&M led I know they did from the start. They actually pushed really, really early. If Jimbo Fisher was still the coach in College Station, John Meredith would have already been committed to A&M. That's how they do it. But it's different now. Elko does it a little bit different. In that space, Ohio State slipped in and took the baton. And now they're talking about him as in a Devin Sanchez type role and, having that same kind of upside and potential and coming to Columbus and bringing that game up there. And so now Meredith's kind of thinking that. My biggest thing is Texas has got to get back in this race. They're not out of it, but they aren't necessarily near the front of it either. This is a guy that could come in. I think he plays as a true freshman. I think he does well as a true freshman. He has every intangible you would want. If we're playing NCAA College Football 26, this is a kid that I create, and he's an automatic take.
So everybody that we've mentioned so far, even guys committed, they've been interested in Texas. They've, for the most part, I think, seen Texas at least once. They're guys that the Longhorns are in the conversation for. These next two, Justin, I think you may want to put in a different category and say, hey, again, if they don't make it to the 40 acres again, it's just not real. And that's where Texas is in both of these recruitments. And the first one is with Cooper Witten, Jason, who I think most famously is the Oklahoma tight ends coach. His son, he's seen Texas. He has an offer from Texas, but other schools are in better spots.
Yeah, this is one of those, Joe and I actually talked about this before we wrote this story yesterday, just because we want to make sure we give the right expectations to Texas fans. We don't want to lead anybody on, but we do want to set records straight. And with Cooper Witten, I was actually able to catch up with some guys at Sooner Scoop. Go check those guys out in the On3 network. They are the best. Eddie Radosevich, Josh McQuiston, George Stoya, those guys are the best, man. Go check those guys out. Listen, this kid wasn't really into Texas before Jason Witten took the job at Oklahoma. It was really trending toward Texas A&M, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, as a matter of fact. Now it's Oklahoma or bust. But the interesting thing I learned about him yesterday is that no matter what, they're still going to go through the full process. They're going to take the official visits. They're going to do their due diligence. And I think the reason is it's not a guarantee Jason Witten's the tight end coach at Oklahoma in 12 months. If he has a good season, what's to say he doesn't get plucked and taken as a OC at another school? What's to say Tennessee doesn't come through and go, you know what? We sure would like that legacy and his son back on this campus. Josh Heupel and him still have a relationship. And so Cooper Witten in Texas doesn't feel likely, but I'm going to say it again. Texas isn't going to stop recruiting him. He is elite. He is the best linebacker pound for pound in the country for a reason. He is legit. It's just if we don't see him on the 40 acres in the next 3 or 4 months, there's really no other reason to bring him up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Last but not least, certainly not least, Landon Williams-Callis from Richmond Randall. Small but mighty, listed at 5'7.5", but like you say, maybe one of the best pound for pound, if not the best pound for pound player in the nation. And again, like I had said from the top, this is one Texas, they got to get him back on campus because it's been too long.
It's been too long. That's the best way to put it, Joe. Texas let this recruitment slip last year. Unfortunately, Chad Scott did not maintain that relationship. And so the Horns had to play catch up. Starting in like late November, early December, Steve Sarkisian and Chris Gilbert were at Richmond Randall with Coach Randall like the first day you could get on the road, because they understood they have got to climb back into this recruitment. This is a no-brainer take. I don't know how great he's going to be in the NFL, but I think he's going to be really, really good in college. He kind of gives me an Oregon running back vibe, like the DeAnthony Thomas, LaMichael James kind of scat kind of type backs that are just pound for pound so good. And the best thing I can tell you is Jabbar Jaluk loves this kid. And Jaluk does not care that Oregon and Texas A&M are leading this recruitment. He couldn't care less. In his eyes, that kid has to be in this cycle, and he's going to treat him as such. And out of all the guys on this list, I think we're going to see this kid back on campus. I don't know if it's going to be the spring. I don't know if it'll be a summer OV, but I just talking to sources and people within the program, they're not going to let up on this guy. Now, his NIL, this is also an NIL recruitment. Please understand that. And he's already got representation, and he's already got the DNA and genetics of the Jaquiz Rogers and the Rogers brothers from years ago that went up to the Oregon States. One of them was all Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year one year. Like, they were dynamic. And so he's got a great circle. He's got really good people around him. He's an unbelievable kid, really, really just does everything you can imagine. He's going to leave high school and Texas high school football as one of the greatest, most productive running backs to ever play. Texas is not in a great spot today. They're playing catch up. William Callis is listening to Jaluk. Sark made an impression. Gilbert made an impression. Jaluk has made an impression. I think of all these guys, we're going to see him back on campus. If we do not, buddy, that hill just got a lot tougher to climb.
Absolutely. I think we can get out of here on one good question from our guy, Ansel Roush.
Oh, I know this answer.
Would be the best recruit on offense in the 2027 class? I think I know where you're going. Is it up near your neck of the woods?
A little bit. You want to give him yours first? Why don't you give him one?
I may go ahead and just say, you know what, if Easton Royal stays in, he's got more official visits scheduled. And actually, I think that's what I'm about to do after we get done here is log all those official visits, show the competition that Texas is dealing with for their commit. But Easton Royal, he is fast. He has got speed. He's got athleticism. Like I think we've looked over the past couple of years and just seen, oh, he's just a fast guy, or oh, he's just kind of a technician. He is a receiver. He's pretty special. But I can understand where you're about to come from.
Yeah, so I hear offense, I think quarterback, I think running back, I think big time receiver, I think big scoring. But we got to get out of that mindset, because where does the game begin? It begins in the trenches. And there is a prospect that, Joe, you and I have been doing this for quite a while now. You don't come across kids like this very often. I've never in my life come across someone that has so much going on and off the field, especially in the last 2 years, how his life has been upside down. Ismail Kamara, the Gilmer offensive lineman, I've got him now as an O-lineman / athlete, because he is going to be running the French horn offense. He's going to be a quarterback. He is going to play running back. He is going to play receiver. He is running a 56-second 400 in track right now. He's 6'6.5", 340 pounds, 41-inch waist, and 19% body fat. That's like one chapter of this kid's story. His decision is so much bigger than football. I asked him a couple days ago, is this a 40-year decision? He said this is a lifetime decision. And he has so many things in the works. He's friends with Victor Wembanyama. They're working on stuff together. He's got family in the Senegal, so he could possibly be a diplomat of that country, potentially throw in the 2028 Summer Olympics the shot put for them. There's just so much stuff to go with Kamara. But here's the best part. He had 170 pancake blocks in 8 games last year. In the 2 games I went to go see him play, the defense didn't engage him. They wouldn't go to him. They would just run around or run left, or because if he locked onto you, it might be a felony. Like when he played on JV 2 years ago, they gave him 2 personal fouls for blocking. And it was just because he disassembled a kid, but he didn't mean it. He's the biggest, sweetest teddy bear you're going to meet off the field. He's a black belt in judo. He's teaching my son soccer. He can kick a ball in the air for 5 straight minutes. I could go on and on and on, but just understand this. Kyle Flood was early and often on this kid. Sark and Blake Gideon came through the school last week. They invited former Longhorns that are in Kamara's family, adopted family, Curtis Brown, Chris Boyd. It was a family reunion in that place. Funny enough, Blake Gideon's dad used to coach in East Texas. He coached with Gilmer coach Matt Turner, Steve Gideon at Jacksonville High School. I say all that to tell you this is the best prospect in the class of 2027. He's the best offensive. He's the best overall. And that kid is going to change a program's life when he signs.
I like how you referred to he disassembled a kid. Like you don't hear that very often, but it's all true. Like he is disassembled.
It reminded me of the Trey Moore hitting Gunnar Stockton.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, oh. And so they had to pull him out of game. He couldn't play anymore.
Jeff Traylor Stadium, man. It's a fun spot to see stuff like that. So thank you all for watching. Hey, this is fun. I'm glad this show is back, but we'll be bringing the intel over on Inside Texas every day. So make sure you go to InsideTexas.com, use that first link in our description, or use that QR code there at the top of the screen. Sign up for just $1. Lots of fun covering the best in recruiting. Again, lots of different notes up. Charlie just posted some notes on a recent offer. Another international player from the United Kingdom. There in Miami. So pretty interesting stuff going on. Baseball season's here. Got basketball tomorrow.
Hey, baseball.
Yeah.
Let's go. What are we, number 5? What is Texas number 5?
Depends on your poll, but number 3 in the one I follow.
So we got some boys. We're pulling for those boys. We're watching. It's Jonah Hill time. No, Jonah Williams. Jonah Williams time.
Jonah Hill's the mastermind. He got the Greek God of Walk signed, Kevin Youkilis.
Yeah.
A lot of different baseball references there. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time on the Recruiting Scoop on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. Thank you, Rebel.